What's going on, guys? My name is Silent Core, and today I'm going to be going over everything that you need to know about the game Bully 2. I'm going to be going over all of Rockstar's official comments on it, the interviews, all of the leaks that have happened so far, and the reliability. Now, if you haven't already got round to playing the first Bully game, I definitely recommend picking it up. It's basically an open world game set in a school, so just imagine GTA in a private school. So if you want to go around dishing out the wedgies to your classmates, you can totally do that. It was actually just recently released on Xbox One, and it's also on PlayStation 4 via digital download now. I'll also put a link in the description to Amazon if you want to pick up this game. Totally recommend it. So Bully 2 has been confirmed in development by a leaker known as Yan2295. He confirmed this on both GTA forums and his Twitter, and he also commented saying it's supposed to be the next game after Red Dead Redemption 2. You've probably already heard of Yan, but if you haven't, he's one of the most notorious GTA Online leakers, and he's got a very reliable contact at Rockstar Games who shares him a lot of information about upcoming DLC for GTA Online and, of course, other games that Rockstar has in the pipeline. And this is actually consistent to what Yan said in one of his posts back in January 2017. I'll show that on screen, and he talked about 4 different games that Rockstar are currently working on. And in there he said there's a group of people working on another game which he didn't mention. So I guess we know what that other game is now. It's Bully 2. So just to summarise Yan's post, there's a team working on GT Online, still a smaller team than it used to be, but they're going to be continuing to work on DLC and probably will for quite a long time to come. There's also Red Dead Redemption 2 that's currently set for this year, 2017, if it's not delayed. And then their next game after Red Dead Redemption 2 is apparently going to be Bully 2, which we can probably expect to be maybe 2018, maybe even 2019. And the reason I say this is because Rockstar like to keep breathing room between their games. And if Red Dead Redemption 2, especially Red Dead Online, if that's going to be a very successful game just like GT Online was, that's likely to take up a lot of development resources just like GT Online did, and probably push back future releases like Bully 2, like GTA 6. And then the 4th and final team are working on the next GTA game, which we can assume is just going to be a very long time away. I'd say at least 2020, but I think it could easily be several years after that before we even hear about this game. So now that we know Bully 2 does exist, it is in development by Rockstar, let's go over some of the leaks that have been made. So first of all, the soundtrack of Bully was put together by Sean Lee, and he actually did an interview with a website called The Gaming Liberty way back in 2009, and he was asked if he will be composing for any other games in the future, and he replied saying, "Yes, it looks like I will be doing the soundtrack for Bully 2 in the not so distant future." Now it's kind of funny that we're looking at that comment several years later. In fact, like 8 years later, so the not so distant future has turned into quite far in the future. But it does look like Sean Lee will be working on the soundtrack for the next Bully game, just like he did in the first game. Funnily enough, Game Informer actually contacted Rockstar to comment on Sean Lee's statement, confirming the existence of Bully 2, and Rockstar just commented saying, "We do not comment on rumour or speculation." So clearly Rockstar weren't too happy about Sean Lee's sharing of Bully 2 existing, but for him to say that, it goes to show that the game must have been in some sort of preliminary planning stages at that time of the interview. Now after that interview in 2009, we didn't hear very much about Bully at all. I guess Rockstar were focusing on other projects, but in 2011, Dan Houser, who's Rockstar Games' vice president, did an interview with Gamasutra. And just to note, at the time of this interview, they were just finishing up Max Payne 3, which came out the next year after this interview, but it was being developed by Rockstar Vancouver, which was the main studio that worked on the original Bully game. And this is what he said. "Contrary to a lot of people, we like to take a little bit of time at the end of a game before starting a sequel so that we can wait for the excitement or disappointment of everything else of the experience to shake down and really see what we should do in the next game. So we knew that we didn't want to start doing the Bully sequel instantly at that second with those guys, even though it's a property that, like Max, meaning Max Payne 3, we adore and we might come back to in the future. There was just no impetus to do that then." So as you guys can see from that statement from Dan Houser, their studio was completely focused on just shipping Max Payne 3, which isn't surprising because that game was actually delayed a couple of months to give time to finish it. And there was actually quite recently a leak that came courtesy of Spider-Vice. He shared a post from Insider JK, who actually shared some leaked concept art of Bully 2, and he said in his post, he believes Bully 2 will be released between 2019 to 2020, and that the game will follow the concept of the previous game and will address controversial issues like racism, drugs, and other subjects around school. He also mentions a little bit about E3 this year, and this was actually a post just before E3 last year, so this isn't E3 this year he's talking about, it was E3 last year. And he mentioned that Take-Two will be announcing it at E3 or doing it behind closed doors, which is interesting because obviously last year at E3 we didn't hear anything about Bully 2, it wasn't mentioned there whatsoever. And in fact, this comment kind of raises some red flags for me, because why would they announce a game at E3 that isn't going to be coming out for another 4 years? So let's take a quick look at the two images that he leaked with this post. So first up, this is the Bully 2 logo apparently, and this logo does seem to be somewhat of a different style to the original Bully logo, which is a bit weird. Usually games like to keep their same logo styles to be consistent for branding purposes for their next game. For example, look at Red Dead Redemption 2 logo. The actual logo, although it's got the number there, the logo and the aesthetics of it is quite similar to the original Red Dead Redemption logo. And next up, the other leaked image was this kind of early concept sketch of a school. However, I don't believe these images are actually real. And a Rockstar employee that actually works in the Edinburgh office at Rockstar North confirmed on 4chan that these images are fake. Now, this Rockstar employee is quite a notorious one in the GTA community. He goes under the name Rockstar Fag, interesting name choice I know, but he's made multiple content leaks in the past and actually given a lot of content. I believe about the Bikers DLC and also the Import-Export DLC, he gave a ton of information online about this. And he seems to always use 4chan to do this. I guess it's a way to protect his identity as best as possible. But when you're posting on 4chan, you actually have a user ID that you can use to track other posts by yourself. And as you can see from his posts, that they all tie into the same ID. He has quite a weird attitude online, but he has been right in the past. He does have a successful track record of making successful leaks. So when he confirms these pictures as being fake, it's a pretty good indication that these are not legit. So guys, that is unfortunately everything that we know so far about Bully 2. Obviously there isn't a whole lot of information here, but I wanted to go over a collection of all of the leaks and statements about this game. If you are excited for the next Bully game, you know, this is everything that we know so far, and potentially will be everything that we know for quite a while to this date, unless there are some significant leaks put out there. Although Rockstar could be releasing Red Dead Redemption 2 this year, it's likely Red Dead Online will be taking up potentially years of development time from Rockstar Studios across the world, so it's likely the next game after Red Dead Redemption 2 could come even several years later. I think the time has passed when Rockstar used to do a new game or release every single year. I think Rockstar are putting a lot more time and effort into getting one release out the door, especially since games these days take a lot more development hours and development time than potentially they did like 10 years ago when we were playing on old generations of consoles. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you haven't played Bully before, I actually just started playing it recently when it came to backwards compatible on Xbox One. I'll put a link to the Amazon page in the description if you want to pick it up. It's quite cheap and definitely worth a play if you want to kill some time. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you are excited for Bully 2. Feel free to subscribe, I'll keep you up to date with all of the Rockstar news on Red Dead Redemption 2 and also Bully. And I will see you guys in the next video.